The Song of Songs, also known as the Song of Solomon, is a book like no other in the Bible. Nestled within the wisdom and poetic literature of the Old Testament, it stands out as a lyrical masterpiece celebrating love in all its intensity, beauty, and mystery. At first glance, this book appears to be a passionate exchange between lovers, rich in vivid metaphors and symbolic imagery. But as with much of Scripture, the surface meaning offers us a glimpse of deeper spiritual truths that apply to our relationship with God. The title itself, Song of Songs, suggests that this is the greatest of Solomon's songs, a superlative meant to set it apart. Out of the 1005 songs Solomon is said to have written, according to 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 32, this is the crowning achievement. Why? Perhaps because it speaks to the universal theme of love, the most powerful force in the human experience and the cornerstone of our relationship with God. Consider the key phrase in Song of Songs chapter 2 verse 4. His banner over me was love. A banner in ancient times was a declaration, a visible sign of protection and belonging. This image speaks volumes about the nature of love, especially God's love for us. It is not hidden or ashamed. It is boldly proclaimed, a banner flying high for all to see. Just as a king would raise his banner over a city he claims, so too does God raise his love over us. This love is not fleeting or conditional, but strong, enduring, and protective. The setting of the Song of Songs is primarily a garden, a place where love blossoms amidst the beauty of nature. Gardens, of course, hold deep biblical significance. They remind us of Eden, the place where humanity first encountered God in the purity of creation. In the same way, this song invites us into a garden, not only to witness the love between the bride and the groom, but also to reflect on the sacredness of human love as ordained by God. For instance, the bride in the song is often described in terms of nature. Like a lily among thorns is my darling among the young women, Song of Songs 2:2. The bride is compared to a rose of Sharon and a lily of the valleys, 2:1, symbols of beauty and purity. This is not just poetic praise. It is an acknowledgement that love, in its truest form, is something God-given, something that grows naturally, as a garden flourishes when well tended. In much the same way, our relationship with God is often depicted as something that needs to be nurtured, cultivated with care and patience. Just as a garden requires weeding and watering, so too must love, whether between husband and wife or between a believer and God, be nourished and protected. One of the most striking lines in the Song of Songs comes in chapter 8. Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm. For love is as strong as death, jealousy as cruel as the grave. Its flames are flames of fire, a most vehement flame. Song of Songs 8:6. In this verse, love is compared to the inevitability and finality of death. Powerful, unyielding, and inescapable. It speaks to the binding, covenantal nature of love. When two people marry, they make vows to one another that, ideally, last for life. Similarly, when we commit ourselves to God, we enter into a relationship that is meant to endure beyond the grave. The imagery here is profound. Just as death is a force no one can escape, true love, whether in marriage or in our relationship with God, is a force that cannot be quenched. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can floods drown it. Song of Songs 8:7. This reminds us that love, when it is genuine and rooted in God, is stronger than any trial or hardship we may face. It is a flame that cannot be extinguished by the storms of life. While the Song of Songs is a celebration of love, it also acknowledges the challenges that come with it. In chapter 2, verse 15, the bride says, "Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom." This curious metaphor offers a profound truth. Small problems, if left unchecked, can spoil something beautiful. The little foxes represent those seemingly insignificant issues, resentments, misunderstandings, selfishness, that, if ignored, can ruin a relationship. In marriage, these might be the daily irritations that, if not addressed, fester into larger issues. In our spiritual walk, the little foxes could be minor sins or distractions that slowly erode our relationship with God. The lesson is clear. We must be vigilant, tending to the small things before they grow into something destructive. While the Song of Songs is often read as a celebration of marital love, many scholars and theologians have seen in it a deeper allegory of the relationship between Christ and his church. In the Old Testament, Israel is often referred to as the bride of God, Hosea 2:19-20, Jeremiah 2:2, and in the New Testament, the church is described as the bride of Christ, Ephesians 5:25-27, Revelation 19:7-9. Just as the bride in the song longs for her beloved, so too does the church long for Christ's return. And just as the groom delights in the beauty and purity of his bride, so Christ looks upon his church with love and joy. This allegory paints a picture of the intimate, faithful, and sacrificial love Christ has for his people. For your Maker is your husband, the Lord Almighty is his name, Isaiah 54:5. In many ways, the Song of Songs points us forward to the ultimate celebration of love, the marriage supper of the Lamb. Revelation 19:7-9 describes the great wedding feast in heaven, where Christ and his bride, the church, will be united forever. The joy and intimacy described in the Song of Songs serves as a foretaste of that heavenly union. As we read this book, we are reminded that all human love, when it is pure and holy, points us to the greater love of God. The mutual affection, devotion, and delight between the bride and groom in the Song of Songs are shadows of the eternal love between Christ and his church. The ultimate fulfillment of this love will be in the new heavens and the new earth, where God will dwell with his people in perfect harmony and joy. So what can we take away from this ancient love song today? First, it teaches us that love, whether between spouses or between God and his people, is sacred. It must be cherished, nurtured, and protected. Second, it reminds us that love is powerful, stronger than any force we may face in life. And finally, it points us to the ultimate source of love, God himself. As the Apostle John writes, God is love, 1 John 4 verse 8. All love, whether in marriage, friendship, or faith, flows from him. The Song of Songs invites us to not only reflect on the beauty of love, but also to enter into the kind of love that mirrors God's eternal and unwavering commitment to his people. In the end, the Song of Songs is more than a poetic celebration of romance. It is a call to experience love in its fullest, most divine form. Whether we approach this book as a guide to marriage or as an allegory of God's love for his church, its message is timeless. True love, like the love of God, is worth pursuing with all our heart, for it is a gift that reflects his very nature.